Well, folks, a big hi, hello, and welcome to you, one and all. And Next Gen Racing is what we're going to be doing this evening, and that is the guys out on circuit already. Can you believe it? I think it's going to be one hell of an event. That's where we are, the Daytona Motor Speedway Racing in Protos. It is the final meet of the year. It's a 2-hour race, the Daytona Motor Speedway Road Circuit in Proto 3s, well, should I say in Protos, which is the LMdH, the hypercars, and then the LMP3s as well. So, good day to you, one and all. My name's Gary Fleming. I'll be with you, Mike Side, on behalf of Second Gear Productions, bringing you the inside line of what's happening. 15 cars out there, and the big news right now is the fact that Mark Baker, the man that is leading the LMP3s, has qualified right at the back of the pack. Mark Baker, Owen Patterson and Jorge Bentes, the big hitters, they starting off the back of the pack. And then in the LMdHs, they are also doing the same thing. Benji M, Stefan Wessels and Gaza coming off the back of the pack, and obviously just in front of them is then Gaza and Paul Williams, Mark Sykes, Alan McCain, Jochen Sigurd, and Jonas Schauberg. That's at the front end of the field. So total invert of the grid as it is, as they work their way around, just about ready. The green flag goes down, and off the line they come, and down towards turn number one. It's Jochen Sigurd that is going to be working his way into turn number one. Oh, the big hitters already tried to force their way through there. Can you believe it? In behind that, there is the LMP3s. Nick Clibbins from Sean Skitter and Nigel Stock. That is how that one plays itself out. Going back to the LMdHs, they pulled away in two different groups because there's two different classes as they work their way around. Just look how quick these guys are with these cars. Schauberg ahead of Alan McCain. Mark's already right in there with them, behind them. And there comes Paul Williams. Paul Williams just ahead of Benji M. Now, Benji M has already moved up some positions. Benji M ahead of Stefan Wessels, and then Gaza, the next one that's in there. Jochen Sigurd has dropped to the back of the pack, so he was the man that originally started at the front end, and the sharp man, Nick Clibbins, leads out the LMP3s from the South African Sean Skitter. Then the man that's done amazing stuff recently, that is Owen Patterson. Owen Patterson looking very, very good towards the end of this round of proto racing. Into the complex he goes. That's the bus stop chicane. That car just looks fast if you look at it. The sign writing, the stickers and everything is on there. Nigel Stock in his favorite color in the Barbie car is Nigel Stock. He finds himself just ahead of Mike Ridner. So there is the man that leads out at the front end of the hypercars, the LMdHs. The Ligia JS P320, the Acura ARX06 GTP, the Porsche 963 GTP, the Cadillac V-Series, the R GTP, and the BMW M, the hybrid V8 version. That is what these guys are riding in. So Alan McCain in the sister car of Nick Clibbins finds himself in a second position. Right in there with them is in fact Paul Williams. Then Benji M, Mark Sykes and Stefan Wessels. It's right on board with Stefan Wessels and see what it looks like. There's that high speed train as they work their way through the it looks like turns C12 and 13, going down towards the front stretch. Nope, that's going into the bus stop, so that's the back stretch. Turn 11, turn 12, clip the curbstones. Now, after the bus stop, 12 through 12, through 13, onto the front stage. 7th gear, flat on the box. Look at that little battle that's going on there directly in front of him. Diving up towards the inside. That looks like Benjamin McCluskey that's trying to do the move on a Gaza. And Benjamin McCluskey has moved up one. Gareth drops down just one position. Jochen Sigurd, a 132.225. That was his fastest lap so far. Let's have a look at the intervals there. Oh, there's nothing much in it. Alan McCain's trying to get to the front end of the field. He knows that Benji M is coming, and that's how close. Oh, you got to love the front end of that motor car. Those lights, it just looks mean. It's like the devil's there behind you. Alan McCain being closed down by Benji M, the first of the big hitters. Now he's already got just a little bit away from the biggest competition that he has out there today. Jorge Benitez has just made up a position. No, Jorge Benitez has in fact been passed by Owen Patterson. So Owen Patterson, that's on the move here. You see Jorge Benitez. Just getting the tail end wagging a little bit, and that's what cost. That's what made the difference at that stage of the fight. So as we go through tonight's racing, we'll have a close look to see how it's going to pan out in terms of the points. Stefan Wessels right in there with Paul Williams directly behind him. Then Gazza. So Gazza's got to go some. He's under a lot of pressure. Look at this high-speed train as they work their way around. Nothing much in it on board with Gazza. Look at that. It doesn't get any better. Brilliant stuff. Now, if you have a look on the map on the right-hand top corner, you can see how the hypercars, the LMdHs, are getting away from the LMP3s purely because of the nature of the motor car. That's the way that it is. As we ride on board with Gazza, Jochen Sigurd and Mark Sykes is a little bit further back. Well, we'll be able to see them. They'll be in the same camera shot. There is Mark Sykes and Jochen Sigurd. And then looking forward as they're going to work their way now through turn 6. Into turn 6 they go. Turn 7 up onto the Daytona banked circuit. Schoberg still leading them out. A lovely run. And Alan McCain is right in there as well. Alan McCain doing a lovely job. So he needs a strong one. He's had good luck and bad luck, but he right now really needs to have a strong showing out there just to motivate him for next season. That battle of Jonas and Alan, that ahead of Benji M. Now Benji M has got to get a move on because Stefan Wessels has got past Paul Williams, and now having a look is Gazza trying to get around the outside of Paul. He needs to do that before Stefan gets away. Paul backs out of it. Gareth goes through. Oh, look at that tight line that's been taken there by Stefan Wessels. He's trying to have a look around on the outside of Alan McCain. I think he's going to make it stick. He makes it stick. He goes right around the outside of Alan McCain. Oh, a little bit of a lock up there. Alan getting the back end wagging as he tries to stay in with Stefan Wessels. But Stefan has got to stick with Benji M, because at the end of the day, Benji M gets past Jonas Schoberg. Then it's up, dust and disappear. And we know what that man can do when he gets away. It's good night, Nears. Cheers, everybody. The boy is out of here. And you just don't see him for love of tire smoke. Out into the main oval they go, and there's the whole group. Schoberg, McCliskey, Wessels, McCain, that's the blue one, the fourth car, second from the back. And then Gazza needs to try and close that gap. If we go on board with Gazza, we will see that there's just a bit of a gap. Hard on the brakes into the bus stop, go down to fifth gear, down to fourth gear, feather it nicely, use that curbstone every single millimeter you got. And here goes Benjamin McCliskey. Benjamin McCliskey on the outside of Jonas Schoberg. You can see that one directly in front at the sharp end of the field, and I think Benji's gonna get it. Well, I tell you what, Jonas is not giving it away whatsoever. He knows. In fact, Jonas might actually hold on. Jonas is gonna hold on. Can he do it under the brakes? Yes, he does. Wow, that was tight. And I tell you what, he knows he's got them racked, packed and stacked behind him. Benji M from Stefan, Alan, Gazza, Marky Mark, Jochen, and then Paul Williams. Paul's dropped a little bit back, but Jonas Schoberg, what a lovely job he has done so far. I do believe that this is going to be one of his best showings so far in this race. Stefan and Benji are on level points. It's between those two to win out this evening one way or another. Then it's Gareth, and he's got a bit of a gap on Paul. So he has to actually head up ahead of Paul, because there's only 5 points in it between the two of them and nothing else. So Benji M has in the interim managed to get past. Let's have a look at that passing maneuver. He got past and then he lost that position again and dropped back high. So he was actually slightly ahead of Sjoberg at that stage of the fight, but well, it all turned out at the end of the day for Jonas Sjoberg that leads. Here comes Benji again. Benji's having a look on that outside line all the way around the outside. He tried it last time, but Jonas actually outbraked him. He needs to use this one because Stefan Wessels is right there. Jonas is not going to give it away. Oh, he just cuts across the front. Stefan Wessels is in there now. Stefan Wessels knows it's now or never. For Stefan to win it, he's got to win. He's got to beat out on a Benjamin McCliskey. That's the bottom line. If he doesn't beat Benji, Benji wins the championship, period. This is where it starts. This is where it ends. Round number 6 for 2024 Proto season number 5. And this is where it all comes to play. And as long as Jonas Sjoberg is at the front end of the field with Benji M, Stefan, Alan's done a pretty good job. Alan's right there. He's in fact ahead of Gaza, who is 3rd overall in the championship. So that's a pretty good one. Let's go a little bit further back. The Sharkman, Nick Clibbins, has made a bit of a gap on a Sean Skitter from the late season sensation Owen Patterson, from the man that actually leads the championship going into this one, and that is Mark Baker. Now Mark Baker is finding himself in a bit of a pickle towards the end of the season, because he's got 151, Jorge Benitez 149. He needs to beat Jorge Benitez right now. What is the difference between Jorge Benitez and Mark Baker? Well, I'll show you exactly what it looks like. That is the difference between winning it and not winning it, because right there you see Jorge Benitez, the gap to Mark Baker. That is the man that he needs to catch. That is what it's all about. That is what he needs to do this evening, is to catch that car that's in front of him. It's a bit of a biggish gap at this stage of the fight, but talking about this biggish gap, let's go to a smallish gap. Gaza is closed up on the back of Alan McCain. Alan McCain right on the back of Sjoberg. So Sjoberg has been passed, but that, I think, is because of the fact that he actually went off circuit. Yep, he locked it up, went a little bit wide, had to bring it back in together. And well, I think that was the second time that he went off. Let's just check the first time. Oh, there was a bit of contact there, and that's where the difference came in. So that's where he got it going again. So Jochen Sigurd, it didn't work out all well for him. Paul Williams was the other car that was involved. Manages, look at all the tires that they've got there up against the wall for the protection of the cars. So it was Paul Williams was the other man that was involved with that one. And then the second time that he went off, that's just purely trying too hard, locks up the right hand front, gets it onto the grass, does a very good recovery of that one, and brings it all back together. So now it all goes about what is happening at the front end of the field. Benji M, snaking that tail out. Benji M from Stefan Wessels, and they into the LMP3 cars now. He'll go around the outside. Then it's Alan McCain that is in the LMP3 class. Then it's Jonas Sjoberg. Then he's still doing pretty well, because I mean he's still in second in the class. There is Gaza in the 9.0 NXTGEN LMdH hypercar. Marky Mark right in there behind that. Then it is a bit of a gap before we get to Paul Williams. It took Paul a bit of time to get going again. Ooh, Mark trying to go around the outside of Nigel Stock in the Barbie car, which he does pretty neatly. Going back to the LMP3s, it's Nick Clibbins, and Sean Skitter has closed up. Sean Skitter has closed right up. Look how close he is now. Just a tenth of a second, and getting a run. He's getting a run. He's going to have to go for that outside line. Sean Skitter around the outside of Nick, the Sharkman Clibbins. I think he might actually be able to make that one stick. Yes, he does. Nick decides, I'm not going to fight this one, and then maybe lose out, and that will bring the next man into play, which is in fact Owen Patterson. Now we know that Owen Patterson can be blindingly quick. It's Stefan Wessels that's going to blow past him now. The LMdH will just hammer it up the inside, climb on the brakes. They got more rubber on the deck, they got more power. They got bigger diameter brakes back and front. They've got an extra gear in that gearbox as well. So the hypercar LMdH as opposed to the LMP3s, it's just, you don't stand a chance as Owen Patterson pops up on that inside line. Goes past Schoberg. Gazza's the next one that's going to try and come through. Goes right around the outside. Makes that as safe as possible, leaving as much space between the two of them. Owen Patterson, off he goes. Owen Patterson. It's got Mark Sykes as the next one that's going to be closing up from behind. In fact, Mark Sykes is closing up very quick. Oh, Mark just blasts past him. Says, cheers everybody, I'm out of here. Off goes Mark Sykes. That's the difference between the two cars. Now, remember I said at the top end of this one, once the big hitters gets through past the likes of Jonas Schoberg, that's slightly further down in the points, and then to a certain degree Alan McCain as well, it's going to be a case of up, dust and disappear at the front end of the field. Now keeping that in mind, Benjamin McCliskey was the first of the big hitters and equal point scorers at the top end that has managed to get away. So the battle now, Stefan Wessels and Benjamin McCliskey for first and second overall. No matter what, there's no ways that the two of them will not end first and second. The question is, in what order will they end up? And at this stage of the fight, Benjamin McCliskey looks to be the man. Let's have a look, see what is the last lap times. A 32.7 and a 33.6. That means that there's 9/10 of a second in the last lap between these two top contenders. A very good drive by the next man out there, Alan McCain, in the sister vehicle to Nick Clibbins. Then it is Schoberg that still finds himself ahead of Gazza. So he is having one of his best races so far. Gazza in the NXTGEN Racing at black and purple does look very, very nice. There's no doubt about it. Gazza working his way through now. Gazza is third overall in the championship with Paul Williams just behind him. Now, right now, he is ahead of Paul Williams. So for Gareth to end up third overall in the championship, he's got to stay where he is. The problem is there's only 5 points between Gareth and Paul. So if something goes wrong and Gazza gets himself tangled up and he maybe has to even reset to the pits, that's going to cost him big time, because that could drop him out of the top 3. So for Gazza, the pressure is on tonight. There's no doubt about it. He has to keep the hammer down. In the meantime, it looks like Sean Skitter in his class has gone to the front end of the field. Now Sean Skitter has, well, he must have then got past Nick Clibbins. Let's see how that one played itself out. Slipstream with a draft and pops across the front, and Sean Skitter in the CSA Porsche goes to the front end of the pack. So Sean Skitter now leading out that class. And remember, Sean Skitter is 5th overall on 112 points. Mike Riedner, who finds himself at the tail end of the pack, is also on 112 points. So that sorts that out. The problem for Sean Skitter is in fact the resurgence of Owen Paterson in the second half of the season. He's got himself up 17 points higher up as Owen Paterson in that third position. So the only chance right now for Sean Skitter to get into a top 3 is he's got to keep on doing exactly what he's doing right now. He's got to stay at the front end of the field. More than that he can't do. He's got Nick behind him, but Owen Paterson at this stage of the fight is closing up on the back end of Nick Clibbins. Now for Sean, he needs Nick to try and hold on to that position. The other thing is he needs the next man out on track, Mark Baker, to also climb in there and slow down the points collection of Owen Paterson, who looks like he is going to just about make the move. Nope, he won't be able to. He's on that outside line as they go down towards turn number 1, through turn 1, through turn 2. They go. Now having a look on the opposite side, and Owen Paterson will take that position over. Exactly what Sean Skitter does not want to see, because now there you can see the two of them. There's two little dots in the background. That's looking back from Sean Skitter, and unfortunately for Sean Skitter, the first of those two cars is now the man that he's trying to rob that third place away from. But it's not going to be easy, because if Owen Paterson just does what he does best, what he does best recently is be very consistent and blindingly quick around the circuit. If Owen Paterson in the Ignium Motorsport 19 entry, if he can keep on doing exactly what he's doing right now, he will hold on to that third position. Now Mark Baker and Jorge Benitez, just 2 points between them. And Mark Baker ahead by 2 points. Mark Baker ahead of Jorge Benitez. So the man that's presently in 4th position in class, started in 7th, up 3 positions, is Mark Baker. He finds himself 4.4 seconds ahead of his closest rival, and that is Jorge Benitez. Let's have a look from the blimp. We'll get a better idea. There's Jorge. And there is Mark. Let's go back again to Jorge. There you can see that's the gap between 1st and 2nd overall in class. So Mark Baker, with only 2 points between himself and Jorge Benitez, has to end ahead of Jorge Benitez. Whether they be 6th and 7th in class or they're both DNF, he's got to end up with the same or more than what Jorge gets, and that is the only way that he's going to hold on to the top end of the championship. Keeping in mind that Owen Paterson doesn't really have a problem on 128 with Sean Skitter on 12, as long as he is consistent. He has to be there when the flag drops. Mark Sykes. Let's go on board with Mark Sykes in there behind Gaza. Gaza's not getting away from Mark whatsoever into turn number 1, turn number 2, towards the Rodriguez International Horseshoe. There we go. Flatfoot, 3rd gear, through the kink, turn 4, up to 6th gear, haul it across to the left hand side, hard on the brakes. Late apex, long straight coming up. That's what you need to do. A lovely apex that he's got there. Just ahead of them is Alan McCain. That's doing a lovely job so far. Alan has been a little bit inconsistent during the course of the season. He's had his ups and had his downs, but he does have pace. Give him his due. Alan McCain does have pace, and when he holds it all together, this is what he can do. He can hold on to a 3rd position behind the 2 big hitters, Benjamin McCliskey and Stefan Wessels, as we ride on board with Mark Sykes, a 132.15, a 132.13, 200ths of a second between himself and Gaza on the last round, a 132.8, which is 7/10 slower than Gaza was Alan McCain, and for that reason, that is why you see that gap that's busy closing up between the front end of Gareth Williams and the tail end of Alan McCain. Oof. A whole bunch of oversteer as he came there out of turn number 2. This is the tightest battle there right now. 23 minutes into the 2 hours. Lap number 16. Clean the windscreen just a little. Next Gen Racing's Mark Sykes. A big thanks to all our sponsors of the series. It's been a lovely series, I must say. And also to IMV Raceway. Back on board with Mark Sykes, 1 minute 32.64 tenths. That's made the difference. Let's ride on board with Gaza as he closes up onto the back end of Alan McCain, the man that started on the front row of the grid. Oh, he's got a lovely run, but he's a too little, too late. Definitely, Alan McCain has carried it through there. Oh, snaking that car, under braking. Alan McCain is pushing very, very hard. A 31.5 and a 31.9 by Stefan Wessels and Benjamin McCliskey. So Benji M is eating up those back tires. Benji M is pulling the plug on Stefan Wessels. 161 apiece on points going into this, the 6th and final round of Protos for 2024. There was nothing in it. The difference is who is the hungriest for that victory tonight. And Benjamin McCliskey does have the pace right now. He's 4.8. Remember that number? 4.8 seconds between himself and Stefan Wessels. And slowly but surely, marginally, 4/10 of a second at a time, just as they go past Mike Ridner. 4/10 on the last lap. We'll see how much it's going to be the next time they go through. A 131.5, a 131.9 from Stefan Wessels. 4.8 seconds off. They've got away from Alan McCain, the man that we are riding directly behind right now. Alan McCain 7 seconds off the back end of Stefan Wessels, but that's not Alan's problem. His problem is the man we're riding on board with now, Gareth Gaza Williams, in that 4th position, 3rd overall in the championship. And Gaza doesn't actually need to get past Alan. He can stay where he is and end up 3rd overall in the championship. But you know what it's like. It's a boy thing. You want to go past. You don't have to go past, but you need to go past. And that is why he's all over the back bumper of Alan McCain. Again, he gets that oversteer. Well, I tell you what, he's going to be eating up pretty big those back tires. Getting so loud on the big pedal as they come out of the corners. Let's see if he does it again. That time it's nice and smooth. This is where he's got to close right up as they go through turn 6, through turn 7. Up, Alan's got it. Alan's got the pace as he comes out and makes it all happen. In the meantime, it looks like Mark Baker is starting to make the moves. He wants to secure his championship. Does Mark Baker. Benjamin McCliskey comes blowing around the outside. So that is Mark Baker. He has to stay ahead of Jorge Bentes, and he's doing a good job of it. He's got an 8-second gap as Mark Baker. So if he just keeps on doing exactly what he's doing, Mark Baker is going to win out in the LMP3s. For those of you that have just joined us, welcome. It's great to have you guys with. Where are we tonight? It's Season 4 Protos round number 6, the Daytona Road circuit. And the championship battle that we are enjoying seeing coming to an end this evening. It's all about the hypercars. The battle royal between Stefan Wessels and Benjamin McCluskey. Not a single point between them going into this race. From Gareth Williams, ahead there of Paul by 5 points. That is the battle in the hypercars that we are enjoying. But at the moment, we are looking at the LMP3s. That's Mark Baker, the man that leads out on the LMP3 scoreboard. 159 from Jorge Bentes. Jorge Bentes is in fact the next man that is behind Mark Baker out on circuit. And for that reason, pressure's on for Mark Baker. He's taken 8 seconds out of Jorge, but keep in mind, one off track, serious damage to the car. Go back to the pits and it's all over. Bar the shouting, because you can never make up that amount of time or once again directly thereafter. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one is going to play itself out. So we're into lap number 20 of this 2-hour race. Almost a quarter of the race done. Benjamin McCluskey, the man that is doing the fastest lap times out there. Benji M, the last lap, a 131.6, a 32.4 by Stefan Wessels. So he's now, remember I said 4.8, remember that 4.8? Well, that 4.8 has now become 5.6. Benji M doing everything 100% correctly, and he is well on his way to tying up the 2024 Proto Championship title ahead of Stefan Wessels, that level pegged him on points coming into tonight's race. Alan McCain, the next man, working his way through there. Now Alan finds himself a little bit further down on the points, does Alan McCain. He is down in 8th position and level with Mark Sykes. So he is ahead of Mark Sykes at this stage of the fight, and that will do just fine for him, because he will then move ahead of Mark Sykes and take away that 7th. Gustavo Frigoto, he's not out there tonight, and he is only 2 points further ahead, so you'll jump that one as well. Igor Martinez in top 5, unfortunately, is on a 93, so I don't think he's going to be able to break in that far, as Mark Baker makes the move and does the pass. Let's have a look at that one. That's Mark Baker on the outside of the Sharkman Nick Gibbons, the sister car of Alan McCain. Persistent there under the brakes, trying to make that one stick. Oof, just diving to the outside. Aggressive move there by Mark Baker. He says, buddy, I need to get through. There's no waiting around. I've got a championship to win here. While that's on the go, Gaza is now starting to put a little bit more pressure on Alan McCain. He's not going right up into the slipstream. He's just closing up and getting as close as what he possibly can to just put the pressure and hope that Alan maybe makes a mistake. He doesn't need to do any more than what he's doing right now. What he's doing is enough. Mark Sykes in 7th is going to find himself just outside of the top 5. Even though Igor Martinez is not there, he's already amassed enough points to hold on to that one. He's got 32 points on Mark going into tonight's racing. Into the pit lane goes Stefan Wessels. Benjamin has got through. What does Alan McCain do? Alan McCain has gone through. What about Mark Sykes? He goes through as well. Yep, that's the end of the pit lane. So Mark has gone straight through. So Stefan Wessels, who is in the pit lane. Let's see if we can pick that one up. There he is. You'll see the lights is flashing. The Big Hitters starting to do their pit stops. Well, their first pit stops. That's after a half an hour. So that would tend to indicate that we could be doing anything up to 3 pit stops, maybe even 4 pit stops. Well, even after half an hour, after an hour. Look how long he's standing in the pits trying to fuel it up. There it comes now. Stefan Vessel's going to make his way out of the pits. So after half an hour, after an hour, after an hour and a half, that's 3 pit stops that you're going to have to make. So Stefan Vessel's is the leading car that has made the pit stop. But remember, Benjamin McCluskey still to make the stop, but he was 4.8, then it was 5.2. Into the pits goes Benjamin McCluskey. Let's see what it looks like and feels as you work your way down that long, wide highway. And it feels like everything's gone into slow motion. Alan McCain is in as well. Alan McCain has decided he's going to go in, as does Gaza. What does Mark do? Mark dives in as well. So what about Jonas? Is Jonas going to also come into pits? Yes, he does. Now remember, Stefan Vessels has been in already. Here comes Stefan. Now Stefan's got to get through before Benjamin McCluskey comes out of the pits. And Benjamin is still in the pit lane. He hasn't come through yet. Where is Stefan Vessels? Oh, still a long way back for Stefan. Still a long way back. He'll be dying inside right now. Benjamin's on his way out. Benjamin McCluskey's on his way out of the pits, and Stefan Vessels not yet in sight, but he is still going slow. He's on his way through that pit lane exit. He's got to just hold on. Stefan Vessels, here he comes now, and it's not gonna work for Stefan. He now finds himself 6.3 as Benji now picks up speed. 5.9 back to the 6-second mark. So Mark Sykes on his way out, as is Jonas Schoberg in the Porsche. There they come out, back out onto the circuit. So most everybody in the LMdHs have done their pit stops. So Sean, Skitter, Owen and Mark and Nick, none of them. It's only Nigel that has been into the pits so far. So the LMP3s have got a longer range in terms of fuel and tires to be able to stay out on circuit. Nick Clibbins right in there behind Mark Baker. Yes, Mark's leading the championship, but that means nothing to Nick Clibbins. Nick Clibbins wants to beat him out on track this evening, even though Mark is on his way to wrap him up the 2024 LMP3 Proto Series for Next Gen. Gaza Williams has just made the pass on Alan McCain. Oh, Alan must have had a bit of a problem, because that passing speed was plenty. Oh, he went straight across the grass, did Alan McCain, the iRacing eSports entry, and that is what cost him. That is where the turn up came. So the front big hitters are in the order that they are now. Is then, if they stay where they are, is the order that they are going to finish in the championship. Benji M coming up behind Nick Clibbins. He'll just blow past on the inside. Then you'll go up the inside of Mark Baker. Mark will probably try and drop into the slipstream straight like a bang, drops down into the slipstream, knowing that he's got Nick Clibbins trying to hold on to that slipstream as well. Benji just blows past the leading man there. Owen Patterson, who's second in the class. So Benji M, if he does exactly what he's doing now and just keeps on doing it, he's 5 seconds. He's lost out a little bit. Okay, he's lost out a second, but he's got through the traffic. Here comes Stefan. Stefan now to do what's already being done by Benji M. Stefan picks him up all in the right spots. It works together perfectly for Stefan. So 0.8 of a second he gained out of Benji M going through the front end of the LMP3 pack. But is it enough? Can he, on this set of tires, level out the pace of Benjamin McCluskey and maybe close that 5.2 down? It's a long call. It's a big ask. He's done enough to get ahead of Gareth and stay ahead of Gareth. 10 seconds ahead of Gaza. Let's have a look at the last times that they put up, keeping in mind that there was traffic for Benjamin and Stefan that they traversed. 0.08 of a second between the two of them, both of them quicker than Gaza, hence the man that we see on track there, Gaza, Gareth Williams, the brother of Paul Williams to the best of my knowledge, and he finds himself in that third position. Alan McCain has used the slipstream pretty neatly and closed slightly up, just a little bit as Alan McCain closed up, but I think that's purely due to using the slipstream. Let's have a look at this battle. Look at that lot. Nick Clevens on the back end of Mark Baker. They're all going to dive in, every single one. Sean goes in, Owen goes in, Mark goes in, Nick goes in. What does Jorge do? Yep, he's going to follow them through as well. So 40 minutes as opposed to the 30 of the hypercars. 40 minutes for the LMP3s. So they'll do 40, 40 and 40. So they'll have 2 pit stops as opposed to the big hitters that will probably go for 3 pit stops. Jorge Benitez. Mark Baker was already in and ahead of him. Who is going to get out of the pits first? Whoever drops off the jacks and gets a moving, that is going to be the one that is going to be leading this class. Pit exit, Sean Skitter. From Owen Patterson. From Nick Clevens. Then Mark Baker. Then Mike Redner is still in, and Jorge Benitez is still in as well. So Mark Baker getting a decent sized gap now on Jorge Benitez, who is on his way out of the pits. There comes Jorge Benitez, the man that lies second overall in the championship, just 2 points behind Mark Baker. And now on that pit exit, he'll be dying 1,000 deaths. And now he can climb on the gas. But he's going to find himself 7 seconds off the deciding factor in this race. The deciding factor is, in fact, Mark Baker, the man that leads out the championship. Mike Redner on his way out of the pits. Curie Cold Azure 77 of Mike Redner. Brings up the tail end of the pack by 21 seconds. So let's go from the top end down. Oh, Benjamin McCluskey spun it. Where is Stefan Wessels? There goes Stefan Wessels, goes through. So can you believe it? A turn up for the books. Now remember, they both on 161 points. That could be the deciding factor. Benjamin McCluskey that did himself no good whatsoever. Here comes Benji M. Oh, can you believe it? Let's have a look at that one from a slightly different point of view. Let's have a look at what actually happened from inside the car. Coming up to turn number 6. Tries to go on the inside line. Oh, he had nowhere to go. Just turned in on him. Now he turns it around, tries to get it towards the track, trying not to do the wheel spin, and there goes Stefan Wessels up on the inside of a Nigel Stock in the LMP3, and that is exactly what he saw from inside the car. Not what Benji wanted. So from that 5.2 second gap, now he finds himself with a 2.9 deficit. a total turn up for the books. So the other car that was involved there in the incident was Sean Skitter. And Sean just spins himself around. Exactly what he didn't need right there. So Sean Skitter pretty much all by himself managed to get that one like that. Let's have another look at that. What exactly created that? All by himself. The lines is pretty good. Sean Skitter, that's the leader in the class. Now just a little bit too loud on the big pedal. Gets it going nice and quickly. Holds on to that lead in the class. Does Sean Skitter. But let's see. Sean Skitter. There he is. Owen Patterson. He be a coming. He's on his way. There goes Nick Clibbins. Mark Baker. Jorge Benitez. NXTGEN stock in the Barbie car. And then Mike Regner in that class. So let's have a look at the gains and losses, remembering that they started according to the points that they had going into this final round. So Stefan Wessels starting at the back end of the pack, making up all 7 positions, making up 6 of them, plus the 7th, because Benjamin McCliskey had that incident, and that's brought him out of a championship contention, if we can say that. So Stefan Wessels, the man that leads them out. Yet another spinner there. Is that Sean Skitter? Yeah, that's Sean Skitter that had a bad one. So that's the second mistake then by Sean Skitter. And that is what's cost him the lead. I thought that he was still going to retain that lead, but it's now Owen Patterson that's gone to the front. Gets it going pretty neatly. So Sean Skitter, that was leading the class. That was the second error, and that was going into turn number 1 that he turned himself around. So having created the pressure for himself by that first incident, puts himself under so much pressure that the second incident goes and happens, and that drops Sean Skitter from the lead down behind Owen Patterson and Nick the Sharkman Clibbins. So Stefan Wessels, having taken over that position from a spinning Benjamin McCliskey, goes to the front end of the pack, and hence then the top end of the leaderboard, which I suppose is the most important part of all, apart from the out on circuit, Stefan Wessels and Benjamin McCliskey. So that means that Benji M, with that one passing maneuver on a slower car that did not work out, that is what has dropped him down into title contention as opposed to title dominance. There's the gap between the two. There comes Benjamin McCliskey. There is his target, and his target is called Stefan Wessels. 5 positions up for Benji, 7 positions up for Stefan Wessels. Adam McCain that started in 3rd down to 4th. Jonas Schoberg that started on the front row of the grid down to 5th. Mark that started in 4th down to 6th. Jonas that started also on the front end of the grid, 5 down. And then Paul Williams has had to give way for the big hitters. So let's have a look at those last times. How is this precious pot going to play itself out? 32.1, 31.6, a half a second. The man we are riding on board with has taken out of Stefan Wessels. Oh dearie me. With so much time still to go in this race, more than an hour still to go. And Benji M is hard on the move. He is the fastest man out there. On the last lap, a 1:31.6. The best closest to that is a 1:32.1. Then a 1:32.4 by Alan McCain. Very nice, Alan McCain. A tenth quicker than Gaza, but still 1.9. So he needs 18 more laps like that. Oof. McCluskey on the edge. You can't ride any harder than that. Well, let's hope that he's got all the correct racing gear on, because he is on the limits of adhesion. Back on board with the man that is fighting for his life. He's fighting for the title. And that little very quick dot, the orange and black next gen mean machine of Stefan Wessels, that is what stands between him and a championship hypercar LMdH title for this. Ooh, spinning up those back wheels once again. See, Sean Scutters had another off track, and that's why he's now 7 seconds behind Nick Klibbens. A 1:32.07, a 1:32.00, 700ths of a second. Stefan Wessels has responded to Benjamin McCluskey. Stefan Wessels is the man that is on the move right now. He has measured up to what is being done by Benjamin McCluskey. We'll see next time they come around what the lap times are. But Stefan has turned up the wick to try and hold out Benji M. 2.2 seconds is the difference. 1:32.2 or 1:31.9. Another 3/10. Well, 3/10, that is that's 7 laps at the present rate. 7 laps is what it's going to take. They've done 33 laps already. So at the present rate, without any traffic, without any pit stops or anything else coming into it, the man we ride off boards with, Benji M, will then be on the back wing of a Stefan Wessels. That is if everything plays it out the way that it is. But the only thing that's certain in motorsport is nothing, because you never know what's going to be happening next. Mark Sykes on the back of Jonas Schoberg. Jonas's best race for the season so far. Finds himself in the top 5. Does Jonas. Marky Mark in there behind him. There you can see the gap between the two of them. Mark really starting to put the pressure on. Doing everything that he possibly can. All the tricks, all the moves. The Daytona, the iconic Daytona International Speedway road course for NXTGEN Proto Series alla grande finale. And it's all going to go down to the wire. If they end the way they are now, it will be Stefan Wessels from Benjamin McCluskey from Gareth Williams will be the top 3 in the hypercar class, the LMdH. And if things carry on the way that it is now, it will be Mark Baker from Jorge Ventes from Owen Patterson. Is there enough in it? Mark has to back out of that one. Jonas doing a pretty decent job. The 666 WeatherTech entry. Lovely color scheme. Look at the sticker job on that motor car. Nice and smooth is Mark Sykes. Very, very close to achieving his goal. Oh, those brake lights came on pretty early, and that allowed Mark to close up quite a bit. Look how the back end of that car is snaking on Schoberg as he comes out of the corner. Can't afford to make a mistake now. Oh, there you see the back end stepping out just a little bit again. So Schoberg is on the limit. There is no doubt about it at this stage of the fight. He's got to keep the hammer down. If he doesn't, Mark Sykes will come past him. 131.9, a 131.4, a half a second. Benji M has taken out of Stefan Wessels at the front end of the hypercars. They are 9 seconds away. 132.6. 1.2 seconds slower is Gaza, a 132.3. Alan McCain takes 3/10 out of Gaza, but that on a 5-second gap. Oh, that was a bit of a strange wiggle. Not sure what that was all about. Down towards turn number 1 they go. Into 1. This is the closest that Mark has been. Ooh, ooh. Eating up those back tires. Does he cover the line? Yes, he has to. Mark now has a looker on the outside line. Mark is going to try and go right around the outside. Oh, and he gets tagged and nailed there from behind. That's a pity. Mark Sykes, that I think it was Paul Williams. Yep, Paul Williams with nowhere to go. And that takes Mark into the barrier. And does he just continue? Oh, that left-hand front is not good. There's a lot of damage on that car. There's a lot of damage on that car. He's going to have to come back to the pits. There you can see. Look how the car is snaking. Desperate times, desperate measures. I can't see him making it all the way up. He's going to have to retire that to the pits. There you can see the right-hand back wheel is also completely skew. And back to the pit lane he comes. So it's all turned pear-shaped after being the man on the push. And now he finds himself the man in the pits. Mark Sykes. Stefan Wessels trying everything he can to stay ahead of Benjamin McLeod. Oh! That was Nigel Stock that went into the back of... Was it Jorge Benitez? Oh my goodness. Yep, yeah. Jorge Benitez that gets punted by Nigel Stock. The man that's lying second overall in the LMP3 class behind Mark Baker. He gets it back onto the track. Paul Williams has come into the pits, as has Mark Sykes. Remember, they were on 30 minutes. So 4 minutes ahead of schedule. Paul Williams and Mark Sykes comes in. Remember, there was the 2 cars that was involved in the same incident. There they sit one behind the other in the pit lane. And they've now gone in 4 minutes early. So does that mean they're going to have to do a splash and dash towards the end of the race? It is reasonably possible that that means that they're going to have to do an extra lap. Owen Patterson, the new kid on the block for the second half of this season. Owen Patterson leads them out from Nick the Sharkman Klibbens, having had disaster strike on 3 different occasions in this race. It's cost him so badly. Sean Skitter ahead of Mark Baker, the man that's on his way to winning the LMP3 series. Nigel Stock is now being attacked there by Alan McCain that just runs the hypercar around the outside. Jorge Benitez has dropped to the back end of the pack. Exactly what he doesn't need right now. 40 seconds. He's been standing there already. 45 seconds was his standing time. That's massive for Jorge Benitez. That drops him to the back end of the pack. He has done his second pit stop. The others still have to do that. But there's a whole bunch of time between him and the front end of the pack. I don't think it's going to work. Mark Baker is all over the back of Sean Skitter. And Mark Baker's going to get around him. He goes right around the outside of Sean Skitter. Can Sean fight back? It looks like it. I think he might just be able to hold that line going into turn number 1. Who is going to have the advantage? Will it be Skitter? Will it be Baker? That Baker's far enough ahead. He goes past Skitter. The recovering Paul Williams is behind them. He'll have to just blow it up on the inside of Skitter, which he does. Almost late breaks himself. Mark Baker makes space for him, which allows Sean Skitter to come just a little bit closer. Oh, we missed out at the front end of the field. Benjamin McCliskey has made the move on Stefan Wessels. Yep, that was the passing maneuver. We missed out on the earlier part of that one. Let's just have another look at that. That's going down into turn number 1, the exit of turn number 2. Benji not taking no for an answer, and makes up that position. Let's have a look at that one from inside the car and see what it looked like for Benji M. Yeah, just a light nibble using the curbs, and he's through. So after that one little error that he had, Benjamin McCliskey now goes to the front end of the pack. Now with Stefan Wessels that close to him, can he use the slipstream to make up the difference between the pace between these two cars? They must be on the point now of going into the pit. Stefan's going to have a look on the outside line as they work their way, and he might actually take the lead. Stefan Wessels. Oh no, sorry, that's a back marker. It was I got all excited there. I thought, whoa, can you believe it? Look at this one. Stefan Wessels, 1.9 off a Benji M. Got that one a bit mixed up. Sorry about that. There goes Benjamin McCliskey. They surely are going to be coming into the pits now. Let's see what it's like. I think what we must actually do here, let's go and have a look at the dashboard and let's see. 285, 290, 300, 307 in 7th gear through the bus stop. Oh, Benji is sawing away at that steering wheel. Looks like Mark Sykes that's just ahead of him. Surely he's going to be coming into the pits now. He's going to have to do some serious braking and retardation on that motor car if he wants to go into the pits from here. No, he's going to go past. He goes straight through. Now, what does Stefan Wessels do? Stefan Wessels has gone through as well. What does Gazza do? Gazza goes straight through. What about Alan McCain? Is he going to go in for his second stop? Nope, not yet. He says, not a problem. I don't need to go in yet. We did it just over 30 minutes for the first little trip that they had. Possibly the starting fuel was less than the fill-up that you can do. So it's possible that it'll be a longer session before they go in for the second stop. Mark Baker on the back of a Sean Skitter. Remember, Jorge Benitez has been in for 2 stops already. The rest of the crew have only been for 1 stop. So that's going to count heavily against Jorge Benitez, the man that's lying second overall in the LMP3 series. That's a track map of where we are, the Daytona circuit. You'll see all the way around the outside. You'll see there from turn 1 to turn 7. That's the only piece of the Daytona banked circuit, the Daytona 500, the iconic Daytona 500 that's run on that outer circuit. You'll see from turn 1 to the Rodriguez International Horseshoe, turn 4, turn 5, turn 6, turn 7, and then through the rest of the Daytona circuit, including the bus stop, which is the other spot, which obviously the Daytona 500 does not make use of that bus stop chicane at all. We just passed the halfway mark. Mark Sykes and Paul Williams, because of the incident that they were in, have made 2 stops. Jorge Benitez, because of the incident he was in, has made a 2nd stop as well. As we watch Mark Baker closing down on the back of Sean Skitter. "24-hour Le Mans" sticker on the side of the 53 car of the championship LMP3 leader for 2024 Next Gen Racing. Oh, how's that for a quick "how's your mommy" up the inside? That's Jonas Schoberg with the hypercar. See, Sean Skitter kept completely out of the way, but that's put Sean completely offline. That put Sean completely offline and out of sync, and that has brought Mark Baker into play. I would not be surprised if Mark Baker has got the drive on him and will be able to go for the passing maneuver. There you see the closing speed. He's got to get right in there behind him. Makes the dive for the outside. Is it going to be enough? I don't think so. Sean will probably hold on to that one. Yeah, Mark's gone in a completely incorrect line, and Sean will just blow away from him. Opens it up to 1.1 seconds. So deja vu between Mark Baker and Sean Skitter. So let's have a look from the top end down how this one's going to play itself out. If that man in the red mean machine does a bit more of what he's done all day long, he just needs to do the same thing for another hour, and he'll wrap up the 2024 title. Not that far behind him, but opening the gap back to Stefan Wessels. 161 apiece for the two of them. Benjamin leads them out on track. That means that he will then, in less than an hour from now, take the overall crown if it all stays together. Blows around the outside of Mark. The next man he's going to come up behind will be Mark Sykes. Let's look at the closing speed between a hypercar and the LMP3. Oh, into the pits. Let's just live this one with him. Oof, hard on the brakes. I hope that he had retarded that pace enough before he went in. So Stefan comes in. What happens to Alan McCain? Alan goes through. He says, I'm not going to go in now. Jonas Schoberg just a little bit further back. So the whole thing now is when Stefan comes out of the pits, remember it's an hour and 6, so they ran 6 minutes more, about 5.5 minutes more on this tank of fuel and tires than what they did on the previous one. So the whole thing now for Stefan is to come out in some open air. Jonas has gone past him on the track as well. He's there by the pit exit. Stefan Wessels is still standing dead still. Feels like forever now. Stefan Wessels is on his way out of the pits, still with the pit limiter on. That's why the lights are flashing at the front. That's the effect of the pit limiter. As he comes past the green bollards, the lights will stay on. The pit limiter kicks off and Stefan Wessels goes into beast mode as he comes out of the pits. Now, how much ground, open ground, has he got in front of him? He's got Mark Baker. He's going to probably pick up Mark Baker as they go through the corner. Hopefully just afterwards, so it doesn't slow him down. Up on the inside of Mark Baker, the LMP3 highest points man, going into round number 6 of Next Gen Proto's season number 5. This the Alla Grande finale for this season. So, Benji M. Where do we find Benji? Well, Benji's going to do yet another lap. What about Gaza? Gaza's doing another lap. What about Alan? Alan's doing another lap. So, Jochen Sigurd is going to be coming back out on track now. He's had a pretty good session, I must say. Not bad for Jochen. Right, the leader of the LMP3s is Owen Pedersen. Owen Pedersen has been very, very quick towards the end of this season. The last half, the last 3 races, is really been good. He allows Nick Clevens to go through. That's quite surprising. Maybe he felt that Nick Clevens, the Shark Man, was a little bit over eager and might cause an incident. Benji M has come into the pit lane. So Benji's in. What about Gaza? Gaza's coming in. You can see he's just literally locking up those wheels, slowing it all down. What does Alan McCain do? And Alan's going to follow through as well. Now remember, Jonas has already been in. No, he hasn't. No, he has. He'll probably come in now as well. Benji's got to get out of the pits as quick as he possibly can. Benjamin McCliskey from Stefan Wessels. Here comes Stefan. Something major is going to have to happen in the pits to hold Benjamin up. There, Benjamin McCliskey is now by the pit exit. And Stefan Wessels is a little bit further back. There comes Stefan Wessels. Only now into turn number 1. So Benjamin's got it all right at this. There's the pit exit. And Stefan Wessels 5.4 further back. Gaza on his way out of the pits in that third. Alan McCain going to be coming out there as well. Jonas is still in the pits. Jochen has already been in and out, as has Mark Sykes. I do believe Paul Williams might have to make an extra stop. It's realistically possible, because he did go in after the accident incident and was 4 minutes ahead of schedule, and that might cause him to run out of fuel before the end of his last stint, or he's got to lift and coast on a regular basis in the final stint to be able to make it on the fuel that he's got. So Nick Libbins, 1 pit stop leading out from that man, Owen Patterson. You can see the rubber starting to get thrown up onto the side pods. The IMSA. Oh, bye-bye Gaza Williams in your LMdH hypercar, as you just blast past us, making us look like we're looking for parking. Top revs for Owen Patterson in the Ignia Motorsport 19 entry. He's getting a bit of a run here on the Shark Man, but he did give the... Oh, that was very close. He had to back out of that. Nick was harder on the brakes than what he was. He had to literally turn out of it and make sure that he didn't clip the back end of Nick. It was almost disastrous. So for those of you that missed out on the beginning of this race, welcome. Season 4 Proto round number 6, Daytona Road Circuit. That is where we are. And the championship battles are going to be decided right here this evening. And right now, it is all about the fastest man on circuit right now, and continuing to be the fastest man out there, Benjamin McCliskey. Let's just see who has had the fastest lap. I'm going to guess it's going to be Owen Patterson in his class and Benjamin McCliskey in his class. Let's see. It's going to be Benjamin McCliskey, a 1:31.409. Oh, that's blistering pace. And then Nick a 142.3, a 142.2 by Owen Patterson, 231 and 235. Yeah, my guess was correct. It was in fact Owen Patterson that's got the fastest lap marginally from Nick and Sean in his class. Mark Baker on a 142.3. Yeah, so a little bit slower than that one. So that's your fastest laps. Let's have a look at the gains and losses. Remember that they were invert of the points as we ride along there with Benjamin McCliskey. 6 up for Benji, 6 up for Stefan, 3 up for Gaza. And then in the LMP3s, Nick Evans started at the front, is at the front. Owen started in 5th position, up to 3rd. Sean started in 3rd, in 2nd should I say. Sean started in 3rd, is still in 3rd. Mark Baker, the highest point scorer, started at the back end of the pack, made up 3 positions ahead of Mike Riedner, Jorge Bentes, and then a Nigel Stock that's dropped 5 positions down. So Nigel's been involved in 1 or 2 incidents. Speaking of which, looks like he's just had a bit of a off. Had to get right out of the gas. Did Nigel Stock on that one. Gets it all back together again. Let me just see if I can pick up those other incidents for you. Here's another one of Nigel Stock going off the exact same corner as the previous one. So that's a bit of an Achilles heel for Nigel Stock, and you see how long it takes to get going there again after that one. So that's 2 offs that he's had in the exact same corner as he gets himself again there, stays out of the way. Yep, that's the only 2 offs that he has had as Nigel Stock, as we go back to Benji M. But I think we need to actually go to Owen Patterson, because Owen Patterson, having allowed the passing maneuver of Nick Klebens, and I don't know why he made it easy for Nick Klebens to get past him. Let's have a look at that passing maneuver. He just backs out. And Nick Klebens just went straight past him. That is very, very strange. I don't understand why he did that. The only thing I can think of is he didn't want to get into a confrontational situation. Said, Nick, I'm not worried about you and your points. It's not an issue for me. I need a maximum result out of this one. And that is why he allowed that passing maneuver to take place. Owen Patterson all over the back of the Sharkman, Nick Klebens. But I don't believe he's trying to make a passing maneuver. I think he's just pacing himself. Let's just have a look at the, for interest's sake, between the 2 of them. Nick Klebens and Owen Patterson. See, Nick Klebens is on 78. Owen Patterson is on 128. So Owen has got nothing to gain whatsoever by getting into a massive battle with Nick Klebens. He can just as well let him go, because at the end of the day, what he needs is 21 points to get onto the back end of Jorge Bentes. Jorge Bentes right now finds himself 2nd from the back end of the pack, and a long, long way down is Jorge Bentes. Just moves it up on that inside line, picking up the traffic. Look how close they are to one another now. Owen Patterson on the back end of Nick Klebens. Coming up behind Nigel Stock. Remember, Nigel Stock is going to then go 1 lap down as Paul Williams blasts past them on that inside line. So in class, Nigel Stock is now going to go one lap down if they can catch the Barbie car, which they probably will. Is he going to go for the dive? I don't think so. I think he'll just stay there. Yeah, there he feathers the accelerator. You could actually hear him feather as he came closer, using that slipstream effect. And then he feathered it. So, okay, I'm not going to fight with you. And then we still tangled up with Nigel as well. Riding on board with Owen Patterson in the Ignia Motorsport 19 car. LMP3's second overall in class, 10th overall out on track. 1 hour and 19 minutes into this race. They've closed up on Nigel Stock pretty quickly. Nigel just moves across to the right hand side. 51 laps that they've done so far. You probably add another 30 to that. I'm going to hazard they're going to get to about lap number 180. Sorry, 81. Not 181. That would be into tomorrow morning. Let's see, does he once again feather it? Does enough to stay right there. Carries good speed into the bus stop. .49. You've got to be within a half a second to start picking up the toe. 0.41, 39, 35. Oh, and into the pits. Oh, he's carrying stupid amounts of speed coming in there. Phew. That was a loud entry into the pit lane. And in he comes, Owen Patterson into the pit lane. Sean Skitter is going to come in as well. There's Sean coming in. 1 hour 20. So 40-minute stint, a pit stop, a 40-minute stint to the, literally to the seconds. And that will be their second and last pit stop. Sitting, watching and waiting. The Race Logic 40 seconds setup. That's to determine how much fuel goes in. See, he's already got that steering wheel turned slightly, ready to go out. Looking, watching, waiting. There goes the man that he wanted to chase ahead of him. There we go. This is what it looks like when you come out of the pit lane. You work your way through that last section. That pit limiter just holds on to you past the green markers. Bang! Bury the accelerator. Hoof it. Out you go towards turn number 3. New tires, get the feel of it, turn it in nicely. Sean Skitter in the 12 car uses the whole track. He's got to get a bit of temperature into those tires. Through turn number 4. Into turn 5. It's got a bit more temperature there now. Short changes into second gear. Doesn't want to spin up those tires when they're still fresh. Down to second. Ease it in nice and smooth. Nick Clibbins is in the pit lane. The man that leads out right now. And then Mark Baker is in there as well. Mike Ridner is on the back end of the pack, but he's on his way out. Where is Owen Patterson? Here he comes through. There you can see Owen Patterson. He's already made his second stop. Will this take him back to the front end of the field? Nope, I don't think so, because Nick Clibbins is on his way out, and here comes Owen Patterson. Owen Patterson, and there's Nick Clibbins. Owen Patterson around the outside. Nick Clibbins is there. He comes out of the rev limiter. but it's too late. Owen Patterson has recovered the front end of the field. Nick Clibbins, there is Owen Patterson. Can you believe just that little distance? That is all that there is between first and second in the LMP3 class. Over 1 hour and 23 minutes. Probably half of the length of a rugby field. Oops, see, a big lockup there for Nick Clibbins. There was a massive lockup. He would have flat spotted those tires. See, Nigel Stock has had a bit of an off. Yeah, we saw that one. Just bringing it nice and smoothly back into play again. So now they're starting to get a whole heap of spread out. Benjamin McCliskey, the man that level pegs on 161 points with Stefan Wessels going into tonight's race, has slowly but surely edged away from Stefan Wessels, got himself involved in an incident, got passed by Stefan Wessels, ended up 2.4 seconds behind Stefan, closed that down, made the passing maneuver, and has now blasted away at the front end of the pack. They will have, to my mind, one more pit stop that they need to do, and that is probably going to be in about 6 to 7 minutes from now. Benji's just got to get in and out of the pits nice and neat and smooth and stay ahead of that man, Stefan Wessels, to wrap up the championship. Gaza, here he comes. 10 seconds further back into the pit stop he goes. Not too far behind that, one of his best showings for the season, Alan McCain in the 15 car. 4 positions up is Alan McCain. Oh, he carried very nice pace through there from Jonas Seberg. Jochen Sigurd started in second, down to 6th is Jochen Sigurd. Marky Mark in the 666 Acura, representing NXTGEN Racing. Lovely color scheme on that motor car. Love the look of that. And then Paul Williams, as he works his way past Owen Patterson, 2 different classes. And the man he just passed, Owen Patterson, the man that leads out the Ignium Motorsport 19 entry at the front end of the LMP3s. Now keep in mind that Mark Baker's got the highest points, Jorge Benitez has got the second highest points. The way they are now, to the best of my knowledge, Mark Baker from Jorge, if he stays ahead of Jorge, that is what he needs to do. He's got to stay ahead of Jorge. Mark will win it from Jorge. Owen Patterson on 128, 21 points behind Jorge. Even if he wins this, and he's probably going to, that's not enough points between himself and Mark Baker and Jorge Benitez to be able to make up the difference. So Owen Patterson will then probably, all things being equal, and remember in motorsport the only thing you can rely on is nothing, because anything's possible at any given time. Any one single turn, and there are 13 of those on this circuit. 13 corners, 50 laps. That gives you 65 corners. No, 650 corners that you have traversed in that period of time. That's how many times you've got to be good on the brakes, good on the steering input, and perfect on the loud pedal to make it all happen. Owen Patterson from Nick Clibbins, from Sean Skitter, that's just coming out of the bus stop. The man that's going to wrap up the championship if nothing goes wrong, Mark Baker. He's got a big enough gap right now. He's got 17 seconds on Jorge Benitez. But remember, we saw Benjamin McCliskey have an incident and Stefan Wessels passed him, the two of them being level on points. 2 points between Mark Baker and Jorge Benitez. Something goes wrong for Mark. Jorge comes past. He somehow brings Nigel Stock with him as well. And all of a sudden, Jorge Benitez becomes the champion, not Mark Baker in their LMP3s. But I do believe that the big hitters are just about ready to come back into the pits. He has gone through his 1 hour 28.42. If he goes for the perfect split, then on the next time around, it will be into the pits for Benjamin McCliskey. He's going to be closing up on the man that's in 10th overall, Nick Klibbens. 5.1 seconds as they go into the banked oval. Benjamin McCliskey chasing down the man that's second overall in his class, Nick Klibbens. Can that hypercar close up that size gap that quickly before they get back to turn number 1 and he gets into the tight sections where he will then lose time? He needs to get to Klibbens as quick as possible and have open ground through turns 1, 2 and 3 for him to continue his sojourn. That's my word for the day. His sojourn towards the title, and he does exactly the right thing there. Benjamin McCliskey past Nick Klibbens. He's going to come up now behind Owen Patterson just at the wrong spot. He's got to now wait turn 1, turn through turn 3. He'll now go to the inside line and go past Owen Patterson. So he didn't exactly lose too much there at this stage of the fight. Let's have a look at the last lap times. How did it play out? A 32.1 and a 32.5. So Benji's got it. Let's give it to the man, Benji and Benjamin McCliskey, in his red rocket. That's his favorite color, red. He's got it all right for the season. He's got it all right tonight as well when it counts. Stefan Wessels initially was the man to catch at the beginning of the season. Then it went a little bit topsy-turvy for him and for Stefan. And as time went by, Benjamin McCliskey just closed it down piece for piece until he got level with 1 round to go. And then it was all practice, 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 and more practice to hone the skills for tonight to make sure that he can do what he needs to do. And he's doing it all right. He'll probably come into the pits now. If he's going to do a perfect split, no, it's not going to be. He's got enough juice to do yet another lap. Will Stefan Wessels decide to come in? Nope, Stefan's going to go through. What about Gaza? Gaza says I can go a little bit further as well. Not going to have minor heart attacks at this point going into the pits. Putting it all on the line. Paul Williams on his way out of the pits. He brings up the tail end of the class in the Bentley. Alan McCain is in. McCliskey, Wessels and Williams have gone through. McCain has gone in. I think he's probably checked out the telemetry and he knows that what he needs to do is come out in some open ground so that he can get a good run. Let's go to Benji. Is he going to go in this time around? He's eased it away at the front end of the pack. Average 4/10 to 5/10 per lap. Quicker than a Stefan Wessels. He's got to get one more time in and out of the pits. Not going in this time around. What about Stefan Wessels? Wessels goes through. Goes past Nigel's stop. No, they're not going in yet. Owen Patterson from Nick Clivens. Owen Patterson going into the next season, which will be season 6 of Protos, which we're not sure when it's going to start. I think that Owen Patterson is going to go into that as one of the odds-on favorite alongside Mark Baker and Jorge Benitez. Surely, with what he's done in the second half of this season, if he can do that from the beginning of the follow-up season, I pretty much think that he's going to be the fastest man out there on more than just one or two occasions, depending on what circuits they go and race on. Obviously, certain circuits you are more adept at than others. Suits your driving style, suits the type of car that you are driving with. Some people like the tight technical parts with oodles of power where your throttle response is everything. Others like the high speed like this, where braking and trail braking becomes everything to carry as much speed into the corners, hence carrying as much speed as possible out of the corners, so that you maximize your top end speed. So different strokes for different folks. Benjamin McCliskey has gone through for yet another lap. He hasn't backed out on it. Nick Clivens playing the watching and waiting game. They've done enough to get away from a Sean Skitter. Mark Baker, through consistency, finds himself at the top end of the points, but not at the top end of this race. Oh, that was very close up against the wall. Remember, he's got Jorge Benitez right in there behind him, and I think that is why he is pushing so hard, because Mark Baker has to beat Jorge Benitez for him to win the championship. That, what you see in front of Jorge Benitez, is the only thing that stands between himself and a championship title. As he soars away at the steering wheel, Jorge Benitez will have his heart in his throat. 24 minutes from now, he'll either be the champion or he'll be the runner-up. And in the words of Sorrel van der Merwe, you get a winner, and then you get the second best and the third best and the fourth best, which doesn't count. Nobody remember who's the second and the third guys at the end of the day. Oh, the pressure's on Mark Baker. Can you believe it? The whole season is going to come down to this. What you see right now, 2 points between Mark Baker and Jorge Benitez. It's all happening out on circuit. This is the LMP3 Season 4, race number 6, the Grande Finale. And what happens in the next 25 minutes and 6 seconds will determine, between these two cars, who's going to take the championship title. We've got to stay on board with this one. Mark Baker, desperate times, desperate measures. You know that old song, it's now or never. Well, it is now or never, that is for sure. There's the two of them. Jochen Sigurd, they just blew past them, but that's a different class. And to the pits he goes. He does not want to get stuck. Jorge Benitez does not want to get stuck behind Mark Baker. Does a massive dive into the pits, high speed entry. Hopefully he did retard it enough and quick enough. He stops there behind the signboard, so we won't be able to. So there we go. He's up on the jacks. So now the standing time, the pit time that he is going to be standing dead still, that is going to be the decider. 18, 19, 20, 21. This is going to be it. 23.6. Jorge Benitez 23.6. Mark Baker has to do 23.6 and better starting time, and he has to make sure that he is just as effective coming into the pits and going out of the pits. Otherwise, he's going to lose it to Jorge Benitez. Jorge Benitez has got 3 seconds between himself and Paul Williams. That is a hypercar. So he's timed it correctly with just 22 minutes, 21 and a half minutes to go. He's timed it perfectly to come out into open air. So Mark Baker, while he's got open air in front of him, he's got Alan McCain and then Benji M that have gone past. So he can't do any slipstreaming. But now the pressure is on for Mark Baker. One pit stop could make the difference between winning and not winning. And he decides to come straight through. He comes straight through. Stefan Wessels is in. Stefan Wessels is in. And the last time was 40.1. That's how long was the standing time. There you see him standing in the pits, 40.1 seconds. Will he be able to do it any quicker this time around? I somehow think it will be a little bit quicker. And the reason why I say that is they have only got another literally 20 minutes to go after this. So surely at his level, he will short full. He doesn't have to top it right up to the top. He can put less fuel in. And yes, he does. 27.9. as opposed to the 40.3. So tippling it up just enough to get it back out on circuit. Nigel Stock as a go round on the outside line. So Stefan Wessels has been in and out already. There you can see Stefan has done his third pit stop. Gaza and Benji and James, all of them still have to do that third pit stop. The whole question goes around Mark Baker and Jorge Benitez for the LMP3 title. Does Mark Baker go in now? Surely he's going to go in now. I don't think he can go much further than this on the fuel load that he's got. No, he's going to go for another lap. I just hope he's not stretching it out too far and he ends up running out of fuel. He's obviously looked at the telemetry and realized how much space he's got in front of him. And he's quite comfortable with the fact that he's got enough fuel on board. The rubber's still in decent shape. Let's have a look at the lap times between the two of them. A 1:43.1 for Sean Skitter. Alright, so 1:43.7 for Mark Baker. And a 2:21 for Jorge Benitez. But now remember, the 2:21 includes the complete time into the pits. So that's 17, that's 37, 38, almost 39 seconds is the total difference between the two. 39 seconds. And Jorge Benitez is 44 seconds behind Mark Baker. So to my mind, if Mark goes in now, he will come out about 2.8 seconds ahead. If his pit entry and exit is the same or very similar to that of Jorge Benitez, he will then come out just ahead of Jorge Benitez. And then all he's got to do is keep it on the island for another 15 minutes and he will then wrap up that LMP3 title. The Bentley sponsorship on that motor car. Is it going to be the sound? That motor sounds very tired if you listen to the high-speed revs. He's going to do yet another lap. Mark Baker wants to open up the gap just a little further. A 43.2 and a 43.5. Mark Sykes will blow up on the inside. So he's taken 3 seconds in the last lap. 0.3 of a second out of Jorge Benitez. So Mark Baker is building himself a bigger and bigger pit stop cushion window to stay ahead of Jorge Benitez and hence wrap up the title as he works his way around. Gazza Williams has got himself now ahead of Stefan Wessels, but Benjamin Kliski's just come in. Gazza still has to go in. Stefan has already been in, so it's not a problem for him. What is Gazza going to do? If he does go in, then Stefan will 99.9% sure go past him. Yep, here he comes in now. Gareth into the pits. 3.2 kilometers back is Stefan Wessels. Make that 2.8 as we watch Gazza go and stop on his bay. That is his spot. He's good to go. Benji on his way out. On his final stint is Benjamin McCliskey to wrap up the title for 2024. No mistakes, no errors is what he needs right now. He's got the better part of 500 meters ahead of Stefan. Gazza is coming out of the pits. Stefan must be there and thereabouts. There comes Stefan Wessels. Stefan's probably going to blow around the outside of Gazza. Yes, he can. There, the pit limiter goes off. Stefan goes back up into that second position. Gazza will now get it up on pace. There is the man that he would love to beat. Not that it's going to make any difference at this stage of the fight, because he's a little distance back on the points. So no matter what he does, Gareth on 118, Benji and Stefan on a 161. No matter what he does here, even if the other two do not finish the race, he cannot do better than third. But you know, it's a boy thing. If Gazza can beat Stefan in this final race, believe you me, he wants to. Oh, so bad. He wants that position on track. Riding on board with Gazza. 14 minutes to go in this 2-hour session. A massive big thanks to all of our sponsors, including NXTGEN IMB Raceway. Back on board with Gazza. This production brought to you by Second Gear Productions. Gary Fleming from the southern tip of Africa, South Africa. Second Gear Productions, the leading production company in SA for IA racing as a whole. Also move around the country doing all the big events, live racing as such. Owen Patterson. Giving it stick. Owen Patterson ahead of Nick Clivens. That's for first and second in class. Nick down in 7th position overall on the points. Second overall out on circuit. Both of them having done the same amount of pit stops. Nigel Stock, that they've just put a lap on directly in there behind them. 12 minutes to go in this 2 hours. tiredness now surely starting to set in. Nick Clibbins past Owen Patterson. Owen says, I don't have a fight with you. I've beaten you on the championship already. You carry on, young man. Go and have lots of fun. I'll just follow you through. Do what I do best. Nigel Stock gets past there by Jonas Schoberg, who blows past everybody around the outside. The hypercar's just got so much extra pace out there. Owen Patterson. I don't believe he'll try to have a go with Nick Clibbins. I think, well, surprisingly, he climbs out behind the slipstream, but I think that's just to cool the brakes and the tyres down, and they have to have a clear view of his braking markers. Twice already, he's let the man go. He said, I don't have a problem with you. You keep on trucking. Have a nice day. I'm here for the bigger part of it. Let's have another look at that Mark Baker crash. Oh, right in the middle of the circuit. Oh, how's that for close? It doesn't get any closer than that. Spin it right around onto the infield and away you go again. Whew. That was something else for Mark Baker. That could have turned everything upside down for Mark Baker. In fact, Mark Baker still finds himself ahead of Jorge Benitez. Mark Baker's still going to come in for that pit stop. There's no ways he's going to be able to get around that. Surely he's got to come in again. But Mark Baker's opening that gap up. He's now got 44.2. Remember, it was 41 the last time we looked. It's now 44. So Mark Baker's opened up that window to make sure. While that's on the go, Gazza's on the back of Stefan. Stefan has actually got nothing to lose right now. He can't catch Benji. Gazza, even if Gazza gets past him, even if Gazza finishes and he doesn't finish, being Stefan, it's not going to make any difference. He'll still have second in the championship. But a race is a race, and the boys want to win. Gazza tries to have a look on the outside to do the late. Oh! Stefan Wessels is off. The pressure on Stefan Wessels. Well, he put the pressure on, and it worked for him, because Stefan Wessels climbs on the gas just a little bit too much, backs right out of it. Had some Cook Sister arm session going there to get that one back together. And Gazza says, have a nice day. That's what pressure's all about. Welcome to my world. I'll show you how to get the pressure on. And that's exactly what he did. Gazza now moves ahead of a Stefan Wessels, not in the championship, but on circuit. So Stefan Wessels, unless something desperately goes wrong up front, it's not going to make any difference whatsoever. That is where they're going to end. Benjamin McCluskey, if he finishes this race ahead of Stefan Wessels, like it is now, will be the new champion. Gazza, although he beats Stefan, will have to play second fiddle, excuse the pun, to Stefan Wessels, and he'll end up then in third position overall. Stefan's already done his 3 pit stops. Owen Patterson ahead of Nick Clibbins. Yes, Nick Clibbins did have an off circuit. That's where you had to back out of the gas to bring it all back together. And that's where the passing maneuver Mark Sykes, different class, comes through. Bit of oversteer there. So that's where Nick went off. Owen Patterson went past. He'll probably now close up on the back of Owen Patterson, and Owen will probably allow him to go through once again. It'll then be the third time that he's backed out. We'll just open the door for Nick Clivens to come past, but Owen Patterson playing the long game. 6.5 minutes to go. 72 laps into this one. They'll probably get to about a lap 75. I expected around about 80. So much for my calculations. It's going to happen again. Owen Patterson says, come on Nick, go to the front, have a nice day, I'll just follow you through. Gazza will blow past both of them. Owen Patterson playing with Nick Clivens. Just 5 and a little to go. Oh, two people that had a bit of a session there. That was where the passing maneuver came. Let's have another look at that. Stefan Wessels hard on the gas, coming out of 2 and backs out of it, gets it back up on track before the entrance to 3. Doesn't lose out too much. But you got to herald this man, Benjamin McCliskey. He has taken 21 seconds out of Gazza. Another 6 out of Stefan, the man that was legal pegging at 161 for 5 rounds of the season so far. This being round number 6, the 6th and final round of Protos. Everybody has done their pit stops in that class. Jorge Bentes has done the additional. Oh yes, remember Jorge Bentes was most involved in most. That's my semi-English Afrikaans word for the day. He was involved in that incident and went into the pits early. So Jorge Bentes has in fact then done the additional stop. Mark Baker does not have to go back in the pit, so I got that one a little bit out of sync. So Jorge Bentes had to do the additional stop. The rest of the guys do 40 minutes, 40 minutes, and 40 minutes in the LMP3 class. So as they are now, Nick Clivens ahead of Owen Patterson from Sean Skitzer, Mark Baker, Jorge Bentes, and then Nigel Stock from Mike Ridner. That is the way that they lie. There is no more intervention of pit stops in the LMP3s at all. As we watch Benji M, in honor of Benji M, the man that is going to come out tops. Look at that open ground behind him. Gazza's taken 8 seconds out of Stefan Wessels. That's strange. Why so much? That was the incident that he had when he went off. But I mean, from there, that's not a big gap. That's like 1.8. And from there, Gazza has just kept the hammer down and he's taken the better part of another 7 seconds out of Stefan Wessels. That's quite amazing stuff. So Gazza is just blowing it away at the front. There's old Marky Mark Sykes. And I must say from my side to Mark Sykes Designs, the man from NXTGEN Racing, a big thanks for all the support that I've had during the GT3 and the Proto seasons, the start now of 2024. I hope I'm going to get the opportunity to join you guys for the follow-up races in these 2 classes, and or whatever classes will replace this. I don't know if the Protos will carry on. GT3s, obviously, there's no doubt GT3s will carry on. It's also a lovely series, that the GT3 series, and I hope to be able to bring that to you. Second Gear Productions, hopefully being able to bring that through to you for the next round of GT3's NXTGEN Racing 2024, and that being season number 5. Sean Skitter is now closed up just a little. So that becomes a three-way battle. Can you believe it? Almost 2 hours. 2 minutes short of 2 hours in first, second, and third in class is in one camera shot. Amazing how similar it really is. Looks like Nigel's stock has had a bit of an off. So poor Nigel, he tends to every now and again be a little bit loud on the big pedal. And that costs him every now and again. But it's a learning curve. Sean Skitter on the back of Owen Patterson and Nick Gibbons. Mark Baker that stayed ahead of Jorge Benitez. So that one incident of Jorge Benitez that caused him to have an additional pit stop, that was the deciding factor in the championship time. Yo, that was close. That one incident was what made the difference for the LMP3 title. This is getting a bit rough and loud. Going back up on the inside, Owen Patterson with Nick Gibbons. He gave it to Nick twice. Now he's trying to get ahead of him again. Owen doesn't want to get into this fight. He's been playing the long game. Nick runs it wide to make sure they don't make contact. Oh, doesn't get any closer than that. Gibbons up on the inside of Patterson, and this is going to turn to tears. This is going to turn to tears. That's where the contact was. Skitter trying to make it happen. Alan McCain coming through, but we've got to go to the main man on his last lap. The 2 hours is up, and this man Benjamin McCliskey, all he's got to do is go through a series of 13 corners one more time. Mark Sykes lets him go past. That means that Mark's got to do one lap less. That's why he lets Benji go through. And I think also, as a sign of respect, he lets Benji go through and says, "You're my main man. You're the main man of the series." Awesome stuff. Benjamin McCliskey. One more time, one last time, it will come through the bus stop. Crystal driving lines. Give it up for your new Proto 2024 season winner, Benjamin McCliskey, as he works his way towards the finish line. And he wraps up the title towards the finish line. Lights ablaze as he comes through. Benjamin McCliskey takes away the championship. He went into this one on 161 points. Alongside Stefan Wessels, he beat out when it needed to be done. Stefan Wessels in the last race. Gaza will come through to take the second position in this race, and third overall in the title goes to Gareth. Stefan Wessels, the man that at the beginning of the season was the man to catch, eventually on the very last swan song for the season gets beaten out by Benji M, and that takes him out of it. Let's go to Owen Patterson and let's see the LMP3 leader. Owen Patterson right on the last with Nick Gibbons and Sean Skitter in there behind him. 3 times he gave the lead to Nick Gibbons. Now he's forced his hand and taken that lead back again. Owen Patterson will come through ahead of Nick Gibbons, and a good drive by Sean Skitter. First, second and third after 2 hours. That's all there is in it. Can you believe it? It just doesn't get any tighter than that. Nick's actually going to try and do a dive, but it'll be too little, too late. On the line, first, second and third in class, Owen Patterson, Nick Gibbons, and Sean Skitter as they come across the line. Wow. Can you believe it? What a season it has been. It's been utterly amazing stuff. Just doing a couple of donuts there. Is that Mark Baker? I think that's Mark Baker. No, that's Mark Baker over there. The guys are just slowing down. So that brings it all to an end. Can you believe it? The whole season, it all came down to this very last piece now. The last saga. 161 apiece going into the final race. Benjamin McCluskey beats out on the man that he so desperately was catching race for race in the second half of the season. Benjamin McCluskey, the new winner. Gaza coming through third overall, second in this race. Stefan coming through third in this race and a second overall. Owen Patterson leading out from Nick Lieben, Sean Skitter, Mark Baker, Jorge Bentes and Nigel Stock. A little bit of antics out there on circuit by that man, just getting the feel of what it feels like to spin it all around. So that means Mark Baker will take it away from Jorge Bentes, and that'll be first and second in that class. Folks, that wraps it up from my side. Gary Fleming, it's been an honor and a pleasure to be here with you for GT3s and for Protos for the beginning of 2024. I look forward to an opportunity to be back with you in the not too distant future. From my side, enjoy yourselves, folks. Look after one another. Make somebody else's life special, and then it can only be better for you. Cheers, everybody. Till next time.